very much. I'd like to start by congratulating Deputy Fleming for this motion. I think it's a very, very sensible motion, and it's fantastic that we have this time in the Oireachtas to bring it up. I have to say, Minister, as I looked into the issue and looked at the numbers, what I was most puzzled by was why we don't have it. It's so obvious that this is the right way to go. There's no compunction on anyone to be a donor. It's a very simple psychological switch between opt-in and opt-out. It's not a criticism of your government at all. I'm puzzled as to why the Oireachtas over the last number of years hasn't brought it in. And I'm delighted to hear there's going to be what sounds like a very comprehensive review. As part of that, you might take a look at why something that is so obvious and so useful hasn't happened, just so we make sure we don't fall foul of it before. I was quite taken by the effectiveness of this thing. Austria has an opt-out policy and has a registration rate of 99%, which is 8 times that of Germany, which is an opt-in policy, and it's 12%. And I found that 24 European countries now have opt-out policies. So it's great that it's come up, and I'm genuinely puzzled as to how this hasn't happened before, because obviously there's a great need for it. Again, I took a look at the figures. Only 25% of the population hold donor cards. I will hold my hand up. I do not hold a donor card, and I'm going to have to go and get one after this debate. And we've got a lot of people on the list. We got over 500 last year. We had over 500 people on the list, 560 people on the list, but only 110 donors. So it's sort of a no-brainer. We have waiting times of 6 to 12 months. And our ranking in Europe is pretty bad. Heart transplantation, we rank 24th. Pancreas 12th, liver 12th, lung 15th. So there's an obvious solution. We're bad at it. There's a great need for it. So hopefully it's something that will happen soon. Although interestingly, whilst there's been cross-party support in the Oireachtas, or certainly in the Dáil for it, the public don't share our view. And maybe that's why it hasn't happened. Maybe there's been political self-interest of governments over many years that they haven't been willing to do it. I was quite taken by a survey done by The Journal, which they ran just a few days ago on the 26th, and I imagine, Deputy Fleming, to your credit, it was because you've raised it onto the agenda. And it was quite interesting. 46% said we should move to an opt-out policy. 46% or 45% said we shouldn't. And a small margin had no opinion on the matter. So actually, I know it's not a statistically significant sample, but you know, on The Journal, I don't know what their sample size was, obviously not randomized. Actually, the population who responded is split 50-50 on this. So there's an interesting disconnect between what we're saying in here and what the people we represent are saying around the country. It sounds like there's a very serious piece of communication and listening and debate that needs to happen around this, because the public are, I was very surprised, the public are in no way fully behind this at all. And I think, as Deputy Pringle was saying, and many others have said, the acts of the GAA and the acts of Mr. Brolly hopefully will go a long way. I was reading in the paper
Deputy,
yesterday.
1 minute.
Thank you. I was reading in the paper yesterday that the GAA are going to put a full page in all of their match brochures for the year, if I have that right, and it's phenomenal. So hopefully that will help. But certainly, Minister, an issue you're going to have to deal with, your government's going to have to deal with, is you're going to have to bring the public along on this one. So I just conclude, Cathaoirleach, by congratulating Deputy Fleming again, and very much welcoming what the Minister has said. The one thing that would be great to hear, and apologies if someone else has said it, Minister, but I just didn't hear you say it, is specific timelines. So it's fantastic that this is going to be, there's going to be a report. My understanding is, whilst it is in the programme of government, it's not on the legislative agenda. There's not a bill has been tabled on this. And I understand, obviously, if there needs to be a report, but it would be great to know if we could have some specific timelines. We are in and around halfway through this Dáil. There's probably quite a lead time between public consultation. There's a piece of work to be done around public debate, an expert group, drafting of a bill, and so forth. So the one thing I'd ask, Minister, is if they, apologies if they have already been given, but if they haven't, if you'd be able to come back to the House with timelines on how this might get turned into law. Thank you, Gerard.
Thank you very much, Deputy. Now we'll